Hey everybody, we're live, and how you doing? And I'm gonna pick up where I left off by showing you this rather startling, uh, kind of sad uh, representation of what I was talking about with the. Excuse me, that's not what I want. And I think I'm not going to use that either. What is going on here? I'll use this. I'll start here. All right. So that's where we started, right? But then what I was talking about was this unfortunate, very unfortunate uh, picture of decline. And it's based on Google Trends here. And you can see it now if I stop screen there, share screen, go back, and voila, there. This is a picture, a sad picture of decline. Interest by region, by the way. United States, Guatemala, Canada, United Kingdom, and Australia. So, okay. But it's a picture of decline in the simple mention of the search term Oakland. That's it, which is generally means the city of Oakland. All right. And there's been a habit of late of both media and elected officials blasting John Fisher, owner of the Athletics, and Dave Kaval for, well, hey, taking the team out of Oakland and taking them to Las Vegas in a way that I don't rubber stamp. And I've written this before, and I'll say it. I thought, while I understand, and I know this is coming for a year, the way they handled it in terms of leaving the negotiating table was clumsy. I get what was frustrating them. I get why it was done, but it was clumsy and it shouldn't have been done that way. And the only saving grace is that they were running away. They were literally running away, which doesn't speak well to our city. And it is our city of Oakland. It is our great city of Oakland. And so, but the A's fans let Oakland government off the hook. Just plain straight out did. Okay. The person, I hate to say this because I love her very much, but this is a matter of business. What I'm about to present is the person who should be, to a large degree, held responsible for what has happened with respect to Oakland's government and with respect to why we lost professional sports teams, and not so much the Warriors, but here, all right. And that person is here, and that's Oakland Mayor Libby Schaaf, and to a far lesser extent, Oakland Mayor Shang Tao. And I say this because Libby spent an inordinate amount of time making herself the face of the retention of the athletics in Oakland. But she tried to do it in the same way that she did the Raiders. She made herself the face. She didn't start a task force. She had her own internal task force of city staff. She didn't listen to outside criticism. And she thought she was more intent on proving that she got it. It's about her getting it than about getting the job done. That, hey, I can do this because I'm a woman. When the point of fact is there are many scores of equally accomplished or lesser accomplished than living women who have done things like built the Harold Washington Library Center, in Chicago or finance the St. Louis ballpark, Diane Poway with Piper Jaffray, was then known as Piper Jaffray, and go on and on and on. As far as I'm concerned, that ship sailed a long time ago, and it was time to get the right players to do the job and move forward. And Libby didn't do that. She did not do that. She had people like God love her Claudia Capio on the Raiders project, but by her own admission, it was not her bailiwick. But yet she was the point person, and she had to get up to speed on a lot of things, including just making a simple spreadsheet regarding how a stadium would be financed. You could send it to Ronnie Lott. Vegas Mark says it's like the Oakland fans are the sheep, and the local media are the shepherds. Yeah, and so, but I asked Libby in an interview that we conducted. I said, "So, Miss Mayor, who are you going to have as the face? Who are you going to replace when you leave? Who is the person that you're going to tab for who's the person you're going to tab, all right, for to be that person who advances the Howard Terminal?" And she did not have an answer for me. Okay, she did not have an answer for me. I said, because I pointed out that she made a good effort, a very good effort, to make herself the face, all right, the face of Howard Terminal. We had that discussion 2 months ago. The only problem with what I'm about to play for you, it's a little squeaky. All right, so bear with me. The volume is a little distorted, but I'm going to see if I can get and play that for you. But I can't get over. It was an unusual distortion problem, so I'm going to see to what extent I can find an area that handles that at some point. And let me go and get it right now. Stop screen here. Excuse me. Share screen there. And then pull that up. And right here. There. Okay. So let's play this and see what we can salvage.
Calculation must be done because Century Urban made a gigantic mistake. They started at 2020 with a straw person. They only went to 20.
Okay, that was one of them, but I talked to her here, I believe. Let's see.
Vote before the end of this year, because I'm not the only one who's leaving city leadership. With a new mayor, it's entirely likely that Ed Riskins will leave as a city administrator unless the new mayor wishes to.
This is where she said it. She said that it wasn't likely that she was the only one who was leaving. She says with a new mayor, she thought Ed Riskin would be the person to take up the reins and lead the Howard Terminal effort. But Ed Riskin jumped ship and became vice chancellor, I believe, at the University of California, Santa Cruz. And throughout that, she didn't mention that her project manager's contract was up later in this conversation. Actually, she said that later, another conversation we have, I apologize. But here is where Libby, she didn't cop to the fact that she should not have made herself the face. And she did that. And this is where we had that conversation, right back here. Okay?
Job pitch or whatever. I've done this.
Well, Zenny,
and this is why I told her I wanted the job. I kept saying, I've done this, put me in charge. Hey. And I don't care how you feel about it.
I love you and have tremendous respect for you. And you have always been very helpful to all of us with your knowledge and your just attention to detail, your historic knowledge.
Yeah, which, by the way, she got for free. Okay, think about that.
Knowledge, you have always been an incredible asset to Oakland.
Mayor Schaff, from your side, but fact, I'm the only person in history to have come within 8 NFL votes of bringing the Super Bowl to Oakland when no one gave me a chance, including people saying someone black shouldn't be involved. Okay, so I have a track record of getting things done.
I know that. I've watched you all these years.
So I ought to be the one that you're tired of dealing with these people. Call me.
All right. I'm not tired yet, but I will keep that in mind. And you have a new mayor in 6 months, so.
Which gets to my next question. What's your succession plan look like? Because my concern, without a formal body like a public financing authority or something like it, there's no guarantee that the people involved are going to be, the people who do it. Ed Reskin should be the face, but he's not. You've been the face. So what's the succession plan look like?
Well, that's why it's really important that we get a complete package to the city council for a vote before the end of this year. Because I'm not the only one who's leaving city leadership. With a new mayor, it's entirely likely that Ed Riskins will leave as a city administrator unless the new mayor wishes to hire him for a new contract term. We know that at least 2 city council members will not be here to January. They're not running for re-election, Kaval and Taylor. We also know that 2 other council members are running for other offices if they win.
But see, that's what I'm getting at. Listen to that. I'm going to stop right there. Okay? Right there. Because you just heard the other problem. From Libby's perspective, since all elected officials are running for all of their offices, essentially it's hard to find who that face is going to be. Why does the face have to be an elected official? Why can't it be the Oakland equivalent of what Las Vegas and Nevada have in terms of the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority being headed by Stephen Hill, who I believe also is the chairman of the Las Vegas Stadium Authority? Why does it have to be an elected official? Why not a non-elected professional public person? Okay. Why not a current project manager? Because she had no confidence in her. All right. So the groundwork for failure was laid a long time ago by Libby making herself the face and thinking that the face of the project should be an elected official. Right there. And Libby didn't want to do, and we had this conversation in 2014, a task force. What it boiled down to really was she was following the Jerry Brown playbook. But think about what she lost by not doing a task force. She lost the ability to bring the Pacific Maritime business representatives in Oakland together with the Oakland Athletics, with other unions, with community representatives, to really use that coalition. Call it what you will, the Howard Terminal Coalition, the Oakland Public Investment Coalition, whatever name you want to attach to it. She didn't form a coalition like I made the Oakland Downtown Coalition. Why? Because at the time, this is 1997, the effort to rebuild and improve what is now the bus transit center at 14th and Broadway had stalled because you had 3 key organizations in Oakland who were not talking to each other. The building owners and managers couldn't stand the economic development person with the chamber at the time. The chamber person wasn't talking to another person. I brought them all together, 45 people strong, it grew up to, and we met once a month, the third Thursday of every month, dinner catered by Max's at the mayor's office large conference room, and we hammered out key issues and an agenda. We got it done. That's what you do. You bring everybody to the table that you think doesn't want to talk to that other person. And it's especially important to do in the internet age because, hey, sometimes Zoom doesn't even get the job done. You know what I mean? We didn't do anything like that. And Libby didn't do it. And Shang didn't do it either. Although I say this, I've said it before, in fairness to Shang, Libby laid the groundwork for her. Libby was expecting Lauren Taylor was going to win, but Lauren could have even pushed the issue if Lauren had got up and said, hey, you know what? These votes didn't go the way that they should go, and I'm going to file a challenge here legally. He didn't do that. He got a press conference. Everyone was waiting with bated breath, and then whoosh, took the wind out of the sails of challenge by saying he was going to go along with what happened. All right? But the simple fact that I point to that proves how over politicized this whole thing is and how much our dysfunctional politics have washed over economic development in Oakland. And that's where we're at. And so Libby made herself the face of this. And now, unfortunately, Libby has to bear the responsibility for, among other things, giving the Athletics two choices. You could either, for the ENA, have Howard Terminal or the Coliseum. Remember that? But smartly, you know what they did? They chose both. Okay? Can't blame them. They're sharks. What do you expect? All right? As opposed to Libby just saying, hey, you know what? Coliseum. But you know the biggest problem of all? The biggest problem of all is that we don't think in terms of purpose-built facilities. That is, it always has to be done for a tenant. In our case, we need the practice of building something that's NFL ready. Now, where did I get that from? Las Vegas. Because it doesn't matter that the Raiders came or not. There was a plan to build a NFL ready, a purpose-built stadium for UNLV. But if you read the documents going back to 2014, they would consistently tell you, hey, this is going to be NFL ready. They wanted UNLV alums, Las Vegas public officials, they wanted the NFL in Las Vegas before the Raiders came, which is really how the Raiders wound up in there from a overview perspective, right? Okay. Vegas says, Libby dissing us in Vegas only encouraged Vegas to fight harder and smarter to acquire sports teams. Big mistake, Libby. Yeah, it got played all over Las Vegas, didn't it? Ooh, my Lord. Not a good thing. And I kept asking her, why? Why do that? What was the purpose there? I didn't ask her in this interview, but what was the purpose? Okay. So Libby made this a lot about her and not enough about having the right public infrastructure to get this done. And then you had council members like Larry Reed. Larry Reed would always say to me, District 7, now his daughter, Treva Reed, is the great District 7 council member representative. But the great Larry Reed would always say to me, and I mean that with all sincerity, would always say to me, that's your God sister's project. and I have to laugh because that's how he would put it. He would always start off our conversations with, well, your God sister, that's your God sister. I know it's your God sister. Your God sister, your God sister. In other words, where is any? Where it? I get it. Okay. Ouch, that hurts. But that's what he would do. That's what it felt like. It was like, okay, I get it. All right. They were all literally letting Libby pave the way for herself rather than jump in as a coalition. Because they didn't want to get stuck. Hey, Dave, did you get the problem coming on? Let me try something here. At any rate, let me put the invite here. Copy for anybody. Here's the invite. Try this, Dave. Try that one. If you can copy, paste, or write that down, StreamYard.com/N4Z3C6YPK. Try that. So Libby didn't want to wear, she didn't want to wear that, the fact that she made herself the face of it. And then prior to this, she did a, pretty good job of admitting that she didn't have the staff. All right. That this is our post state,
and the trucks.
Post state of the city. Our post state of the city conversation. Here, let me see if I can get that one, because what she had said to me was that this is our Howard terminal. Well, that was 1 year ago. It was after the state of the city here. And see if I can play this.
National some projects that already have been approved.
Let's see.
I know we both hella love Oakland. So good to be here with you.
I want to add something regarding the fire. A quick story before you go shift gears, but
You can go here.
Give to you girls as a wedding present. Paths that are going on, and they all have to converge together, because the way that
Here it is.
incredible economic engine for the city of Oakland, in a way that will not interrupt or endanger in any way the economic engine of our port, our working waterfront. And so I'm excited that we have been working along. The aides have been submitting different things to work towards, all the entitlement approvals. There are about 4 major paths that are going on, and they all have to converge together. Because the way that approvals work in Oakland, because of the complexity and nature of this project, the city.
You see, I'm going to stop you right here. Here's another problem. If we had had the Howard Terminal Public Financing Authority, we would have had dates for all of these deadlines and documents met monthly and been able to chart the course when all this was getting done. Instead, all this was being done in a piecemeal fashion. You didn't really understand what was going on because there was no body, literally, no organizational body and no person, no nothing, to publicly report what was going on a regular basis. And so what happens is that the organization leads the argument rather than it becoming these deadlines like the BCDC becoming a media play. All right? That's how you take the media and you put it in its proper position, by having an organization that meets regularly, that puts out more information than people can handle, but you can read it publicly, and you don't have control of the information being directed by the media. It's directed by the stadium authority. That's the way it ought to be. And I'm not saying, when I say directed, I'm not saying controlled or hidden, but I'm talking about an organizational timeline where you can get documents, everything is publicly accessible, and reports are given whether you want them to be given or not, because maybe they're negative, on a monthly basis. That's what you do. And you move forward. Libby didn't do that. Everything was close to the chest, in-house, boom. All right. And that's why we ran into trouble. There was quite literally no organizational accountability at all. And she would say, well, this buck stops with me. Look, nobody cares about that when it comes to really being able to evaluate how an engine is running while it's in operation. It's quite literally like not being able to look under the hood of your engine while it's running, so you don't know which carburetor is going out. All right? You know what I mean, Dave? That's essentially what it was. Okay? That's essentially what it was. And yet it's got to be all about the elected official. Ooh, I gotta be a cult of personality. It hasn't done us any good as a city at all. Okay, Dave Compton is our. Go ahead, Dave. Sorry, go ahead.
What do you feel that the city is trying to go at this point here, with everything that's been broadcast and what they've shown and your graphics and everything and so forth? What do you feel that they're trying to go with the city itself?
Well, I mean, look, I say, first of all, we don't have an organization. So in terms of where they're trying to go, it's kind of like this. You got Rebecca going over here doing the right thing. You've got the JP that hasn't met in 2 months. I don't know what's going on with that. You've got, and can't even form a quorum, the Joint Powers Authority for the Coliseum. You've got the mayor not really paying effective attention, who would tell you, I've got a budget deficit to worry about and everything else. You got no czar over that. You got a new city administrator who just came in who needs to be brought up to speed. So if all that sounds like a lot thrown at once without focus, that's what we've got. Okay. That's
But
what we got.
it just looks to be that through all that turmoil, that if that's the case, trying to keep the people off balance about what they really want to do. It would almost seem like to be, and I don't mean to sound negative, but that there's a hidden agenda back behind their plan, because everything that you pointed out is what they could do, but they haven't done it. Okay, and the possibilities of something always seem like it gets to be just a possibility, but it never succeeding. Okay, the stuff that you shown on paper is what they could do, and you show that time and time and time again. But if that's the case, what have they gone as far? What have they gone as far as to do? So it would look to be that, like I think I said it before, in terms of you showing them up. Okay, see, you're keeping it real.
I'm not trying to show up anybody.
That's why I said it's like.
If I may, I want to get this out there. No, I need this to be emphasized. All right.
Okay.
My dream job out of grad school was with the city of Oakland. I was honored to be hired to work as an intern. And as Elihu and everyone else will care, I just care. I love my first created job. I created it for myself as an intern. So I met 35 seamstresses in West Oakland who were lost their contract with Levi. Didn't quite know what they did. Were going to do. I met with them, talked to the owner of what was then an empty building at 3rd and Linden Street near Jack London, and wrote a plan and a financing plan for an incubator, an apparel incubator down there. You know what the city told me? This was 1987. They told me I was too young. Too young. Okay? So I'm not showing up anybody, but I am telling the truth. Because there's a reason Oakland looks the way it does. And it's not just, there are a number of talented people that have, particularly black and male, who came through Oakland, but then left because they weren't retained. And I'm going to tell an absolute truth. Their white counterparts, younger, were more likely to get high positions, like, director of public works. Fortunately, and this is where I tip my hat to Shang Tao. She's hired, and her G. Harold Duffy is head of public works, African American male today. The new city administrator is African American male. That's awesome. All right. I'm not going to downplay that. That is, and I meant to do a video and thank the mayor for doing that right off the bat. That's a great way to start. But the bottom line is, the real thing we need to do has nothing to do with color. It has everything to do with proper organization.
Exactly.
Learn to love task forces and get out of this idea that we don't need to have task forces, because task forces are great ways of bringing people together at the table to solve problems face to face. And I don't mean Zoom face to face. I mean really face to face.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so, because what happens when you do that, you find out that you get certain people together with the right kind of food. They like certain types of food, wine, and they begin to talk about things they both equally like, and alliances are made that then lead to the resolution of problems. That's the beauty of task forces.
I guess I say that one is good. It's good that you explained yourself in terms of this is not about trying to show somebody up, and I understand that right there. Not at all. But coming from my end or somebody else's who's watching the show, okay, and so forth, it would look that way. Not that that's what you said, but it would look that way. And so if that being the case, you got the people, city of Oakland, shall I say, they hear your show or bits and pieces or something of the sort. and everything. And if they hear what I'm hearing, uh, um, um,
But Dave, it's not about me, okay?
no,
It
I
is.
know that.
Well,
I
if I
know
may
that.
though, if I may though, it is not about me. It is about pointing out directions we need to go, and by my history, sharing that. But it's not about whether or not they listen to me.
How
Okay?
about how
Not,
about?
no, no. No. It's not about that, and I
I
don't
know
want to
that.
take.
I know. That's what I'm
Right, but
saying.
yeah, let's get off that because what I want to talk about are ideas and a little bit of some things that are a little bit complicated. All right, because and that's the problem, Dave. All this reduces into personalities and how people are treated. My point is, we don't have a structure. Like, for example, the one question I'd love for you to ask me, Zinni, what examples are there of good structures in getting a sports stadium done? Go ahead, ask me.
That right there would be good. What would be a good idea for getting a sports stadium done there?
Well, it's in terms of good examples. I think every organization. Let's take Nashville. Okay, say what you will about Nashville in Tennessee. They have moved at lightning speed to get a sports stadium done. I mean, for the NFL. There are people who believe that Major League Baseball is going to come there. It's not going to be the A's. And, you know, props to Dave Stewart and the work he's doing in Nashville and everything else. Okay. But it's not going to be the A's. The A's are going to be in Las Vegas. Nashville, because of gambling. And that's the other
Right.
thing we need to talk about again. Gambling is what Major League Baseball wants to get involved in. And sooner rather than later. Vegas offers the best opportunity over Tennessee. But having said that, regarding the NFL, what Nashville and Tennessee are doing is absolutely incredible. Getting in its coalitions. I learned this from my brief interview with country music star Tim McGraw, who talked to me about their committee that they formed to get the NFL draft to Nashville. All right. It was like music to my ears, like, oh, because I hadn't heard people talk about that kind of working together in a long, long time. Atlanta here is known for it as well. That's how a number of facilities were built. The now torn down Georgia Dome, the new Mercedes-Benz Stadium, the Cobb Count, the World Georgia World Congress Center. I can go on and on and on. And Atlanta is a fantastic example of African Americans and Caucasian Americans working together historically, and that still exists today. Rubs and all, it still has those rubs, but they have dramatically smoothed out in this area. From a social perspective, is a lot more liberal than people understand because of the media desire to play black white all the time.
Right.
There's another example. So what do they all have in common? They have having instruments, task forces, commissions, coalitions to bring disparate groups of people together at one table to hash out how to solve a problem. Oakland does not have that. We used to. Like, for example, we used to have Celebration Oakland in 1992 to celebrate our city's proud history. That was a coalition. We used to
Yeah.
have coalitions for things. Now we don't. We need them.
There was all kind of activities going on years ago, and I know that I was there. Um, but I guess now. Oh, and then I was thinking in terms of Vegas, of course, uh, a lot of years had passed with Vegas without having a sports team other than their college team there. Okay, so now that the Raiders are in town, all right, and if that being the case, well, the A's seem to be on their way. I'm correct, and that's going to pull in a pro basketball team or even a hockey team. And like you say, if that's the case, there's so much money that's being generated through that city itself. It's almost like if they can pass out money in anywhere. And I'm just saying, okay. And so it draws in crowds automatically from the gambling and so forth, you know. And so at this point here, getting the A's to go ahead and go there will go ahead and boost that up that much more. You agree?
I do agree, but I also agree that Las Vegas and Nevada and County need to do a better job of using, for example, tax increment financing to carve out a piece or do a pass through to get that, say, for example, to affordable housing, because Las Vegas has the highest eviction rate of any city in the nation, from what I understand. And they need to fix that, because if they don't fix it one way, it's going to get fixed another way. The development of homelessness, crime, which has already started along the strip, and eventual calls. Eventually, the wrong person is going to get hurt. I hate to say it like that, but the
Yeah.
way they're going, that's what's going to happen. And they need to stave that off before it happens. They really are great at trying to forecast problems and dealing with them. I'm not saying they're perfect by any means, but to have the lowest education rate, among the lowest, is inexcusable when it can be fixed.
Do you
Um, and they have to fix it, because that's your economic development future right there. Go ahead.
do you feel that the gambling part plays a bit of a problem with the people there being homeless and so forth?
I don't know how, because I could offer how it could be a positive. You know, I think the main problem is that you have a kind of independent, wild, wild west conservative streak that governs, to no small extent, how the region runs itself. And so it very much allows a certain freedom, too much freedom, I think, for people to violate each other.
Yeah.
And that's what's got to change, because you can't have a coalition of different kinds of people if you have people who feel like that their rights are being violated, they're being treated inappropriately, and all manner of wrong things are going on. And I'm not talking about uh, those activities that make it racy or anything like that. I'm talking about just people fearing not to be able to put a roof over their head, not being able to get a minimum wage, or beyond a good minimum wage for payment, and so on. So when they have that, the promise that the A's offer in having a greater tax increment revenue stream because their public need is less, is that they actually can park some of that extra money towards special programs targeted for areas that will be affected around the strip. Uh, and that's something that I think really should be carved out there. And the A's can really play a big role in that, as can Bally's and as can gaming and leisure. You know,
Hmm. And I can see that right there.
uh,
I don't know. A lot of it's just hard to speak on because of, I guess, not really delving into the things that goes on there in Vegas, what helps produce it, and so forth. I haven't opened up, should I say, stuff online to look at it that much more, and everything. But all I have is just guessing at things based on some of the stuff that said.
well, I will
Um,
tell you who does a great job, or what publication does a great job of putting a light on that, and that's the Nevada Independent. As much as I don't agree with how they're characterizing the public financing issue, because and their inexperience in that area, at least in terms of one person, not overall shows. Uh, but overall, I think that they've done a fantastic job under John Ralston started it, of pointing out these problems and what government is doing about them or is not doing about them. So
right.
I give a lot of credit to the nonprofit Nevada Independent for doing that, uh, in a fair and reasonable manner. You know, it's kind of hard to find nowadays. So
Yeah. So, but I don't know. But like I said, I'm just trying to go ahead and maybe just learn a few things from about what's going on and so forth. You're doing a good job at that right there. So
thank you. Couldn't have done it without you,
I don't know
literally.
about that right there.
But and I'm going to close this out mainly just out of time. But I want to thank you for joining me. But I want to point out to people, and this comes back to Oakland. There are other examples. In look over at San Francisco, everyone talks about what we used to call Pac Bell Park. Pac Bell Park was, to a degree, government financed. All right.
Yeah.
But again, and it brought together a proper coalition of people, landowners, and government, as was the case for Chase Center. Chase Center happened because the late great San Francisco Mayor Ed Lee, who was my first client when I went out to be a consultant, he was over the San Francisco Human Rights Commission. He said my videos. He said that they were aggressive, and I think Ed Lee offers and has offered the best example of right in our face. All right, right in our face, what could be done. And in fact, here's Ed. Here's Ed talking to me about doing the deal without redevelopment funds at the time, and at what some people mistook as the groundbreaking for what was to be the Warriors Arena at Pier 32. Here it is. Okay, there's only 4 minutes.
2.5 years of construction. So it'll be 2 years from now that we really see it.
There have been grandiose plans for this.
I'd say shovel in the ground's about 2 years to 2.5 years from now. Yeah.
So there have been grandiose plans for this set of piers for decades. Cruise ship terminals, mixed-use development, etc. They've all fallen through. What's going to be different this time?
Well, I think this time we've been doing things a little differently, and certainly under my administration, with as much kind of private sector investment that this idea calls for. I wanted to make sure that elected supervisors and port staff and commission, rec park staff and commission, planning staff commission have kind of a similar vision. So we worked behind the scenes last month to really talk to everybody and get.
Did you hear that, Dave?
Oh, I hear it.
Coalition. You want to hear it again? Listen to this. You didn't hear this from Libby. Listen to this.
Differently, and certainly under my administration, with as much kind of private sector investment that this idea calls for, I wanted to make sure that elected supervisors and port staff and commission, rec park staff and commission, planning staff commission have kind of a similar vision. So we worked behind the scenes last month to really talk to everybody and get their upfront view on this. And I'll tell you, that's resulted in that nice letter that we sent, because I think in the last week or so, when they were really thinking, is this really going to be something that we're going to commit, they saw that letter. And I think Peter and Joe and Rick, I think they saw this letter as being indicative of a new way that we wanted to approach this. Whereas before, we kind of announced something and then waited for everybody to weigh in. We've been through that several times, and you're absolutely right. Several times on this site, several times on big projects in the city. And I wanted to talk to staff, and I talked to Jen Matz, my whole economic team. Is there something we can do a little differently that signals a different spirit, one that's going to lead much more, have a chance to be successful? We didn't get to do that with America's Cup. I wasn't really a part of that decision making. I was in the room with all the other reacting to things, but I think this is different for that very feeling that we're getting as much assurance on the front end that the vision is shared by a lot of other people. Not all details have been worked out. We're going to still have a lot of bumps in the road, and we're prepared to do that. But I think it's the signaling of a strong teamwork with not just the front office, but some people in the second and third levels already thinking through this and helping us think through it.
We don't have redevelopment anymore, so are you concerned that because of the inability of the city to use redevelopment power, that perhaps this deal won't get done if the private markets change? There is that. I mean, I've done a lot of deals, so.
Well, we of course had to do our own little financial research on our.
I got the alarm going off. Let me see what's going on. Don't go anywhere, Dave. I'll be right back. That's a little weird. Hold on.
To anybody out there, is any stepped away for a moment to check on something in the house, so he'll be right back as soon as possible. Hey,
Hey, Dave.
yeah.
Hey, do me a favor. Keep talking. I'm just going downstairs to get some more. Everything's fine.
Okay. Well, I already said a few things already.
Oh, great. Keep doing that. I'll be up there.
Okay.
All right. Thanks. See you.
Anyway, if anybody has any comments about the stuff that has been talked about on his show, feel free to make the comments. If you can make comments regarding the A's move, or for that fact, even the Warriors, um, feel free to go ahead and leave some comments just to kind of keep things going while he's away. Not sure who's watching the show at this point here. I don't have an activities list that would show. It would be helpful to have someone to make a comment if they've been watching the show and what was being said. To go ahead and leave a comment or just acknowledge that you're there. Thanks, Jan. Have you been keeping up with the show? Is there anybody else out there who wants to make comment? How many of you get a chance? Hey. Oh, just trying to he's on this talk show right now. Are you at home? Can I please call you? It's called Zenny 62. You want to check it out? Yeah, it's on YouTube. Look up Zenny 62. It should say live on there. And I'll call you back. All righty. Bye. Anyway, Monique, if you're on the show, um, you can sign in, make a comment, show me that you're watching.
Oh, here I come, Dave. Don't know if you hear me. Oh.
Yeah, I can.
Who's that? Kumo D said coming back like Return of the Jedi. All right.
Yeah,
Let's
I just
see.
had my niece to call.
Oh, hold on a second. There's some comments here. He says, "Can you see the comments, Dave?" He says, "I heard Tom Brady is looking to be." Let's see what.
I can't see. I only saw one comment.
Oh, that's okay. He says, "You okay? Yeah, we're fine. Just thank you, everybody." False alarm went off. Fortunately, folks called and all taken care of us. And then let's see, Joseph Walker. I think Joseph. Are you there? You want to show your camera? Turn on your camera.
It's not Joseph. It's Jay.
Hey, Jay, you want to turn on your camera? Otherwise, I don't do audio only.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just can't figure out how to use the comments.
But you know what, though? That's not true. I have done audio when I was able to, when I knew the person's name, like Elihu Harris. So I'll make an exception
Sure.
as long as you
Well,
don't.
I don't want to scare your audience away. Ha ha.
That's all right. Welcome to the show. How you doing?
Welcome. Sir? Well, Joseph, you did a great job in Zenny's absence.
Oh, he's Dave. Joseph Armendariz is our great legendary blogger who
I'm sorry,
by the way,
Dave, I apologize.
That's okay.
Joseph Armendariz does need a kidney, folks, so let's put that out there.
Oh no.
Yeah. What you got to share for us, my friend?
Oh, I don't know I don't know what I can add when I'm staring here at Ed Lee, who I can tell you miss a lot, Zenny, just by the way you were watching him.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So
yeah, let's take that. On that note, let's keep playing what he said before we got alarmed.
I can't get enough of this.
Our new owners, and I don't think these three gentlemen would be here announcing so publicly that they're going to do this on private financing if they haven't locked that up. And I know also that they wouldn't be able to lock that up unless we were a city with a lot of economic confidence about where we're going. That's what I've been working on, and I think it's been very complimentary without getting into their private business.
Right.
I haven't required them to name names for me or anything like that. All I said is, here's what I'm doing. Here are examples of why this new approach is getting success. We saved Twitter, but not only Twitter. Now you look at that very site, and there's at least 6 other companies that fill that whole place. And then I signaled CPMC, we're getting that done. We're getting 2 hospitals done. Oh, now it's 3 because Chinese Hospital and St. Luke's. Right. I mean, we're getting things done with a strong economic foundation, and our job creation is excited. I did 2 commencement speeches last weekend, and you should have heard the number of kids who are so hopeful that our city is going into the jobs creation because they're nervous coming out. Anybody would be nervous. But I think the investor confidence we've created in all things that we're doing has invited people to say, I'm going to put in hundreds of millions of dollars in the private stuff and take the risk with the city because we're all going in it together.
We just have time for one more question to get back to possibly litigation from the city of Oakland.
Well,
it's very real, I might add.
I think then, the first week, a lot of things are going to be said, and I've been around long enough to know that the first week I don't react to, because it's they said that. Well, it's kind of like when I was elected,
So anyway, that's Ed Lee, and we.
Can I say something, Zenny? That's pretty surreal. Watching that, I mean, I'm looking for Carl Malden and Michael Douglas in the background. I mean, Mayor Lee, he's not. I mean, if that was in one of the episodes where he's up there speaking like that, he wouldn't have been acting. That's him, and you can feel it. And boy, what a void! And boy, where are you, Ed Lee, Governor Ed Lee? How does that sound? I mean,
yeah.
He passed away. There's so many things. I've been following you since the pandemic. Well, I'm sorry, the global pandemic and the lockdown, and then that's when I stumbled on you. We've spoken before on the email. I'll let you guess, lay there in bed, stare at the ceiling, and see if you can figure out who I am on the email. Anyways, but
Miguel, how you doing?
Nope, strike.
Oh,
strike. You got 2 more. But sir,
it goes.
Everything sort of left the station. I mean, it hasn't arrived at the station quite yet, but it's sure on the way. And oh boy, what is there left to say? Putting Ed Lee up there and that scene of the Bay Bridge in the background and the bay and him speaking and the way that he, taking all the questions, having answers for everything, but me just feel it. I mean, what's left now? And the ones that didn't want to listen to you, engage with you, research along with you, learn from you. Not you, but I'm sure even David sitting here. I mean, look at him getting in. I've never met him. I've never seen him before on your channel, but obviously he's asking all the right questions, and he wants to educate himself. And when he gets off here in days to come, he's going to turn to his friends and his family and say, "Hey, I spoke to Zenny. We're on his channel, and this is what I gathered and learned." You know, it's a little late for that. We needed more days, right? We needed more days to be standing in front of City Hall. Days to be asking to meet with Libby Aft and the whole rest of them, and and the organizational skills of. Did you hear him naming off those second and third tier departments? Who does that anymore? You don't want to mention them, right? That's like your dirty laundry. It's your dirty secret that we do not talk about. Oh boy, Vinny, great job as usual. Dave, you did a great job holding up the show. Maybe you need a couple little tips there from Zenny on. Because I've been on hold for 3 minutes, Dave. I couldn't even talk for 3 minutes. Well, then he was gone. But no,
I'm sorry about that. Yeah, I had to take care of our alarm, so sorry about that. But I appreciate it, James.
Don't be sorry at all. I hope everything's okay. I was getting worried there for a minute. We're always thinking about you and your mom there, Zenny. Okay, I always have you every day. I see the weather in Atlanta, if there's anything else going on in that area, I always think about you. But thank you for a very entertaining, educational clip of him. I needed that. I really needed that, and I hope things will go back to that. Because that's the way it used to be across the board. That's the way politics work. That's the way the city government runs. Those are the type of people that you had in place, and so on and so forth. But you know what? Somewhere along the line, people say, "Oh, wait a minute, we want to make." They flipped it around, and here we are. But
yeah. Let me get going on here about the response to the comments, and thank you very much for that. And
thank you, Dave.
And
thank you, Jerry, for your comments.
And I want to thank Dave for filling in that way. Thank you for dealing with. Which is what we do around here. We deal with the unexpected, right? But anyway.
Yeah.
No, you know what? He's your right-hand man now, Zenny. You can.
I try to do my best.
He's just fantastic. Yeah, he's fantastic. Joseph
Watch out,
Webster.
Zenny. He might even bump you off. You better watch out.
No, I don't know about that right there.
The way things are going. But you know what, though? Hey, thanks. I gotta say, Jay, before you go. The idea of acquiring investors really is to get bumped off, but you get rich doing it, right? You get a little sell off your right. That's how this is supposed to work. Dave has stock, I have stock. We get acquired. Next thing you know, hey, we got more money going out than we came. We're a corporation.
Is David a guest of yours? Is he a neighbor of yours? Is he a friend of yours? Or is he a listener? I mean, a watcher as well.
He's all of the above. He's a fan.
Okay.
He's all the above. I wanted to get with the comments though. Jerry Lopez says, "Hope all is well, enjoying the broadcast." And then Joseph Webster says, "I heard Tom Brady is looking to be a partial owner of the Raiders and LeBron owner of the NBA team. That would be really cool." Talking about Vegas. Joseph says, "Can you see the comments, Dave?" Then Jerry Lopez says, "Do you think the Howard Terminal can be developed even without a ballpark?" Yes. I know there's strong opposition to anything being built there. They need to work out something with the maritime groups down there, come Hades or high water, because that is, that's the problem. Am I still living in Oakland? Yes. Is it me? But is Casey Pratt just like, I don't know. He's not. I'm even going to repeat that because he's not. He's a good. I like Casey. He's a friend. And our differences of opinion really aren't even that at all. We don't even have any differences. Do you think we'll ever see an athlete play two sports like Bo Jackson ever again? Yes. No, I'm not gone. Man, do Oakland need an Ed Lee? We do. And not only that, Oakland does need an Ed Lee. Forever Oakland. There you go, Carlos. And he says, are there any news from Oakland government or Shang on this specific deal? I haven't looked, to be candid, I haven't looked in that direction for them to announce anything. I haven't heard anything yet because I haven't looked. I've been paying attention to the matters of the legislature in Las Vegas, talking to my friends over in Sin City about this, as well as, well, doing the normal things like helping out around here, uh, personal things, and then re-hardening our server, which is I spent most of my time doing. And then, of course, our NFL draft videos, and I've got that, and I've got some NFL content I'm going to put out, and then I've got reforming our board of directors, which, so I've got all that stuff. All right. So that's what's going on. But before we get out of here, I think there was the Ed Lee interview, and then I think there was one other I want to play. I played it before, but I believe it, in this context, deserves to be played yet again. And it is right here. At the same event where Ed Lee spoke, and I'm going to change that over to this configuration so you can see it. There it is. And here's the Warriors owner.
He really came after us pretty aggressively. I mean, we certainly were having conversations. Yeah, we're having conversations certainly with everybody, and we're looking into all options. But he really came after us aggressively, and his staff, some of the people, Jen Matz was very involved in this, and I have to give them a lot of credit for being great visionaries and being entrepreneurs.
Hey, Joe, I have to ask, how much of this is criticism of the JPA Coliseum as a guy who worked before the Coliseum? I mean, what really started this from the Oakland?
There's no criticisms. Okay, I mean, clearly the previous ownership of the Warriors, not us,
right,
had issues that we all know in the courts with the JPA. When we came in, we did what we should do, which is settle all that. We wanted to have a clean slate, and we did that.
Right.
And we have a very good, I feel, a good working relationship with them. I do think it's not the easiest. It's a public venue. We don't have control of the venue. It's not the easiest thing to manage, and it's an old building, and there are a lot of problems. But that has really nothing to do with this. At the end of the day, we really looked everywhere and we said, where is the single best place if we're going to invest a lot of money? And in San Francisco, Oakland, San Jose, wherever you are, California, pretty much, we knew it had to be, privately financed.
Right.
If we're going to write a check, if we're going to do that, we had to pick what was the best place for our fans, the best place for our investors, best place for everybody.
But Oaklanders are going to wonder, was Oakland aggressive enough in keeping you guys?
Well, I don't want to get in trouble with Mayor Kwan.
Right.
I think they're challenged because they have three teams that they're dealing with. And, in all fairness, I'm being empathetic here.
Yeah, I understand.
They have a difficult situation. And, it's not like they can go build.
But did you hear that? Let's play that again.
Well, I don't want to get in trouble with Mayor Kwan.
Right,
investors, best place for everybody.
But Oaklanders are going to wonder, was Oakland aggressive enough in keeping you guys?
Well, I don't want to get in trouble with Mayor Kwan.
Right.
I think they're challenged because they have three teams that they're dealing with. And, in all fairness, I'm being empathetic here.
Yeah, I understand.
They have a difficult situation. And, it's not like they can go build 3 stadiums. That doesn't happen anymore.
Excuse me, Zenny.
So,
and with our redevelopment, because redevelopment's killed.
Redevelopment monies went away.
Yeah, go ahead, Jay.
Sorry to interrupt, and thank you for playing that. Correct me if I'm wrong. Who was the mayor before Gene Kwan? Was it Willie Brown?
No, it was Ron Dellums. Willie Brown was San Francisco moons before that. Was Ron Dellums. Ron Dellums was one term.
Sorry.
It's okay.
But,
and Ron Dellums one term. By the time this video was created 10 years ago, that was 2013, and we were just 1 year from the mayoral election. But the handwriting was already on the wall that Gene Kwan would not be reelected. But I remember, in fact, this year, actually the year before, 2011, I was at something called the Alice B. Toklas Democratic Club breakfast, and that is a breakfast held before Pride. And it's a breakfast that I'm going to say this. I'm looking at everybody with direct face. Regardless of your orientation, you want to do business in the Bay Area, you need to have your tail at that breakfast. Period. End of story. Because everybody of consequence is there. Period. Okay. Gene was sitting at the back, and I went over to him and said, Ms. Mayor, Rick Welts. I told Rick, I said, the Warriors are leaving over my dead body. And we started laughing. I mean, what can I really do about it, right? But I went over to Gene. I said, Gene, I said, Rick is right over here. I said, all you got to do, I said, I'll take you over there. I said, come on, let's go talk to Rick. You know, I'm like, yeah, let's make this happen, right? He's right over there. He's right over there. Okay. Didn't make a move. And she said to me that she was surprised at how important the Warriors were economically, and how to so many people. And she said that. And I was floored. To this day, I continue to be floored that Gene didn't get the importance of our sports teams to our tourism economy, let alone our national world marketing efforts. It just not even there. And so, no, she took the stance of, well, we have meetings scheduled for the future, words to that effect. But all she had to do was get up out of her chair and walk over to Mr. Wells and talk business, because everybody else there is talking business. You've got mayors of various cities, council members, developers. I'm telling you, it is rich. It is
that still
business place.
Is
it's
that
still done.
Still in existence?
Yeah, Alex B. Toklas Democratic Club. Yeah, it sure is. But in the way the Bay Area is, hey, Republicans are there too. So nobody cares. You know, no one really cares about all this stuff that people think that they care about, that makes the media. Forget it. People are just trying to figure out how to make ends meet in the way that they choose to do so. And in that way, it involves politics. And that's what you have the interplay of in that room at the Hyatt, politics and money.
Yeah, and the one word that you're leaving out that they don't is community. And when you leave out that word and you leave out the action, you can those other two take over, and it's bye-bye.
Yeah,
leaving community behind.
Yep,
and it's not coming back. If you don't care now, just wait, because you're just not. It's going to go away, because that was in the before times. You see. That's what they'll be, right? See, we, the three of us right here, we're part of the before times. The current, the Gen Z, Gen Y, blah, blah, blah. They weren't part of the before, and so therefore they will never know that. They will never experience it. They will never see a value in it.
And Jay, I'm glad you said that, because I have to say this. There's some people who say, well, that happened a long time ago. But look, so did the birth of Christ. Okay. I hate to put it that way, but look, all right. So did
World
War
but they still celebrate the birth of Christ. Are they are they bringing the community into that organization and it being involved with it? And see, that's the difference.
Right. And then this is what I like to throw out at people who say that. Hey, do you know when the term personal computer was invented and what year? And they say no. And it was 1962, the year I was born. Do you know when the Rolling Stones' first concert was? No, that was 1962, the year I was born. Do you know when the environmental movement was born? No, that was 1962, the year I was born. So my point is, we're at a point where there are gigantic layers of knowledge that have come before the people who identify themselves as millennials, that set the tone for how we have built infrastructure as related to our conversation here, that they need to follow, because those accomplishments, incorporated within those accomplishments, were such new approaches as management science at the time during the 40s and the 50s, which gave rise to, from the public financing or the public government perspective, the schools of government at the Harvard Kennedy School of Government, the Woodrow Wilson Kennedy School of Government at the University of Texas, and the Goldman School of Government at the University of California at Berkeley, and which I got my master's degree at City Plain, but not from the Goldman School, from the Berkeley School. At any rate, my point is process, the science of process, of management process, was established then. And it wasn't honed and refined and, advanced really until recently because of the pandemic. You had to actually get, because of our need to work remotely, and that's still, an animal in progress, right? But my point is, they need to pay attention to how we did things then, because we set the new science for them. So for them to say that happened a long time ago is an expression of wanton ignorance. You need to understand that.
You started out by saying, Zenny, that you ask them questions and they can't answer you. That's because, Zenny, unfortunately, they don't have to ask you questions anymore because they have something in their hand called a smartphone. And if they need answers to questions, that's where they get it. And
but
then
here's the thing, Jay, I got to interrupt you there for one reason, and I agree with you to this point, all right? And this is the problem that a lot of media makes. Someone made a comment about somebody else. The problem is that if you don't know, for example, the math behind tax increment financing, all right, then you wind up saying such things as, well, because if they look up something, they're to see somebody saying they're getting it from the taxpayer, and they're not. A general obligation, here's the problem. A general obligation bond, all right, or subsidy comes directly from the coffers of the general fund. That's the classic idea. But that's not what's going on in Las Vegas at all right? Now, the question is, will the bond be used as a backstop? And the answer is that's not yet certain. So you can't just say, oh, they're taking it from the taxpayer, because what they're doing is they're building up a new area, generating money that the A's are paying into. The A's are paying that possessory interest tax money, which is different from the property tax, okay? And they have to, in order to have tax increment financing going, so they can float the bond. But here's the kicker. And this is the great news that I want people to be aware of, because the stadium value is the same. All right. And 1.5 billion, I believe it's going to be closer to 2 billion. The tax increment revenue is going to be the same. So guess what they can do? They can give more money to a targeted program like education through what we call a pass-through agreement. We've done tons of pass-through agreements when the city of Oakland had its redevelopment organization operational. What is a pass-through? It means we take that money that was to go to the redevelopment agency, we literally pass it through to a taxing agency like the county or the city for specific reasons. And under the old redevelopment law of California, under section 33678 subdivision B, we could take that money and use it for services. I kept saying that because the city would say, people of the city of Oakland say, we can't use that for services. Oh, yes, we can. All you got to do is rewrite our redevelopment plan and park it in there. Okay. I was a lover of that. Okay.
You know what's so great about talking to you, Zenny, is that you can't find a place to stop and interrupt you. That's how much knowledge comes out of you. That's how much I want to sit here and just go with my mouth open and listen and learn.
Thank you.
And you're welcome, Zenny. And another thing, don't cry, Zenny. I can look at no, but they don't know what they don't know, and they don't see any value in obtaining the knowledge, being creative, looking for other answers, doing exactly what you're talking about. And so it's like beating a dead horse. And the more
I'm sorry.
I wish it wasn't like that.
But Jay, the real problem is that the media, it's not that. It's not the people, the business.
I wasn't talking about the media. I was talking about their city government over there in Oakland.
Oh, I get you. But I'm saying I am talking about the media because the media regards the public as stupid. Okay. I've had a number of people say to me, oh, the reason why we don't have you on your show, Zenny, is because people don't understand that. I can name a murderer's row of people who said that to me that are known today, and I don't want to do it because I'm not trying to flame them, but I am trying to flame a way of thinking that has damaged our inability to get our governments to improve, because media is talking down the very people that vote them in and out of office or make claims and demands.
Absolutely.
Right? And that's the real problem. So I'm saying this to everybody out there. I said this to my friend Larry Beal for years. I love Larry. All right. But they're doing that. All right. They don't think the public will get it. The public is super smart. Period. The public is super smart. The public is just busy with the roof over its head. That's the big problem. Let me get these comments real quick.
Come on, Zenny. I want to keep talking to you.
I know, but I'm doing a show.
I don't want to share you, Zenny. I don't want to share Zenny. No. Thank you.
Wait.
I'll sign off now, and I'll just listen, okay?
Hold on a second. I'm going to say sorry for saying Pratt is ignorant. He's not. He's a great guy. He says, but bingo, the math he has is wrong. It is. And it is wrong because, for example, well, there's a number of math that's wrong that's being passed around. One of them, for example, is this idea that, hey, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, that because there are 30,000 seats and they're predicting 2.5 million visitors, it means that they're predicting a sellout all the time. No, they're predicting 2.5 million visitors. All right. And if you read the press release, it lays it out. It says that they expect the baseball visitors to go in and do other things. You can't do that if the baseball project is closed off from everything else, right, Dave? You have to be able to walk from one place to the other. So what they are implying is going to be there sounds like it's going to be freaking super really cool designed, but it's going to be designed for flow through from one place to the other with ease. You want to see a little baseball, you go over there. You want to peek in the hole. I think they're going to make it better than that. They are going to take a different approach. So I wouldn't be so cavalier as some have been to say, oh, they're wrong. And that's what they like to do. And I understand the anger. I really do. You're pissed off that the Athletics are leaving. So you're trying to find out any deal that's wrong. But folks, we did this before with the Raiders. Didn't you learn anything? Or maybe you weren't part of it. Maybe you're strictly an A's fan and didn't care about the Raiders. All right. Point I'm making is it's Groundhog's Day. All right. Hello, it's Groundhog's Day. And that's where we're at. So on the other hand, look at how the NFL promised Cleveland, plus got to keep this name Browns, and Baltimore expansion teams when they were at teams left. Oakland can't even get a sniff. And that's because Baltimore had an incredible mayor at the time, Michael White, who knew how, just like Ed Lee, they're process oriented. It wasn't about politics. These were process oriented mayors. They knew the law, public facilities, what person lever to push in terms of operatives that had different titles in public works in different areas. They knew how to get things done. They knew how to negotiate, all right, in a timely fashion. By contrast, Eric Sterling says that Shang tried to play hardball by saying the A's can call her office. That's not hardball. The A's are leaving. How is that hardball? That's just her trying to make herself look good. You know what hardball is? Hardball is if you had last year said, you know what, I'm going to file an injunction against the A's actions in Las Vegas. Right. That is hardball. And that is what I wanted us to do to San Francisco when Ed was doing what he was trying to do. Nothing against Ed. I love Ed. But all's fair in love and war. That was economic warfare as far as I'm concerned. And so I'm there, as you heard me, basically sounding the call for a lawsuit. Did the city do it? Nope, nothing. All right. Why? We're all Democrats. Why do that? Right. That was the idea. Ed didn't stop and think, well, you know what? They're Democrats. Therefore, I'm not going to steal their team from them. Right. He just went in there and said, yeah, they're screwing up. They're right. We're going to take them. And he did. Good for him. He was aggressive, just like Lakem and everybody else will tell you.
As they say, just shortly, friends are friends, but business is business. Okay. Yeah. And so, and that's the part about it. If you think about, the stuff that you talked about, you said this is about business. Okay. Now, if that's the case, if your actions in terms of what you're saying about business wise is going to affect your friendship, well, then you were never a friend in the first place.
Yeah, I don't have anything negative to say about else. I don't know Brody. Okay, I know that he puts things out. I don't know him. So whatever. Casey, I know, and I've said this before, and I'll say this again. Casey is kind enough to say, "Hey, look, Zinni has been here. He knows this, so therefore, if I have questions about finance, I ask him." Cool. And he's a great journalist. Okay, he goes, he does his homework. He has bosses to report to that want a particular line of thought communicated.
Right.
So you know what I mean, right, Dave? You know,
Right.
that's it. And so Eric says, "Is she trying to do it?" No, it's just too late. You know, you file an injunction now, and you run the risk of being sued by Bally's and the other partners, including Gaming and Leisure, for tortious interference. Ooh, because now you're horning in on their deal, and they don't like that. And they don't care who you are; they could sue you. All right. And then Sir says, "Zinni, do you think gentrification has a lot?" I think gentrification has played an indirect role in that, because in a number of ways. But I'll cut to the chase. Gentrification. Well, really, it was the death of redevelopment plus gentrification. Gentrification created, along with the loss of redevelopment, a homeless population, and so acute, so giant, that it quite literally shifted priorities in terms of what was important. And unfortunately, it came at the time of the rise of the left-right politics we have now, which I regard as wholly anti-intellectual and have taken us back many, many decades in terms of how we think about solving problems. Steve Macy says, "Zinni, long time. Hey, Steve, long time no see." He says, "Couldn't Major League Baseball step in financially to help keep the A's in Oakland?" Well, yeah, but the whole point is that wasn't the problem. The A's had enough money to build Howard Terminal. The problem overall, and I want everybody to pay attention to this, and I don't care if you listen to me or not, they didn't do the process right. It's not about money. Process. You can have all the money in the world as a city, but if it's taking you 4 years to establish your enhanced infrastructure financing district zone and tax increment financing, and you still talk about it like you've got it, and you don't. It only takes 6 months to do it. It's process. Look at what Edley laid out a process for us. You do the process. You work the process. You have the organizations. You have the coalitions. There's a blueprint to this, folks. The city didn't follow it. How many times do I have to repeat it? I will continue to do so. The city didn't do that. It didn't do it in the Raiders case. It didn't do it in the Warriors case, and it didn't do it in the A's case. And you expect to have, song and the birds flying and the earth parting and the weather clearing up and all this stuff. It don't work like that. All right, there is a process here, and you learn it from people who've done these things before you have. Yeah, so they're older than you. Big deal. So what? All right. Any of these people have, well, I don't want to talk about them, Eric. I really don't. Steve Macy says, "How much financially is Oakland losing with all 3 sports teams now basically gone?"
Ouch.
Ooh. Yeah, that's.
I'm not sure if you want to put a number on that one.
No, I do. I'm just not ready to do it right now, because when you asked me that question, I was thinking about the lost marketing opportunity first, okay, by Oakland not being mentioned on television. All right. If someone's going to pay for commercials, and you have people, cities, governments, states paying for commercials in cities and governments or cities and states all around the country to promote themselves, then obviously there's an advantage to having in your city name Oakland Raiders, Oakland Athletics, right? How about Oakland Warriors, as should have been done a long time ago.
Long time ago.
But we weren't blank hole enough to demand that we be called that, because we didn't love and appreciate and value our city to a point we fought for it to that level. We're always willing to this day to go along with, look at the Oakland Roots. The Oakland Roots are telling us where they want to go, and they're not even a Major League Soccer team. Sorry, that's the truth. They're not commanding a lot of money.
How many times have you?
You go here, and we will finance you.
Yeah.
You don't do that.
How many times have you saw, especially when the Raiders were playing, or for that fact, the Warriors playing in Oakland, that they would advertise for San Francisco?
One more. Vegas, Macy, Vegas. Sorry, Dave. Vegas Mac said Steve Macy, Major League Baseball, kind of already did help the A's. They waived the relocation fee. He's right. He did. They did, and they made it easier for the Athletics to move than you talk about an expansion team and all that. There's a fee that calls for that. Right. That's not going to get waived in the case of an expansion team. But here, they've cleared the path for the Athletics. I'm sorry, Dave. Go ahead. What were you saying?
Yeah, it was just that in terms of when it was broadcast, any of the games that were broadcast, and they would show, talk about the games in Oakland and so forth, they would always show the Bay Bridge or what's in San Francisco. That's how much respect that they had for Oakland. There was nothing that they would really show around Oakland, or else they may show an aerial shot of Lake Merritt, but
right.
never down in there.
You had to fight to get that you're right. And then when San Francisco, when it came about for the NBA Finals, when it was in San Francisco, only once was Oakland showed, but we lost that over the 5 years we had it. In fact, right? Do you know? Can you name the one business during the NBA Finals time in Oakland that was put on the map all the time? Do you know that, Dave? Can you name it?
The one business?
Oakland business, yeah, restaurant. Give you a hint. I'll give you another hint. It was on ESPN First Take all the time.
I'm lost on that one.
Wow. I did. Oh man. I got a let's see here. Like I gave it away a bit. See if I can find a nifty video to show you. Here it is. Okay. And yeah, right here. All right. This is where I'll show you.
Hey everyone, I'm here standing.
Hold on a second. I'm sorry. Put that back, and now I'll show you. Voila, folks, you're gonna love this. Thank you, sir. He said it. He said it. He said it. Sir Chat says Lake Merritt was the only shot they gave Oakland. Then he said Everton Jones. Yep, and then Lake Chalet. Take a look at this, folks.
Hey everyone, I'm here standing live for ESPN First Take at Lake Chalet. That's the truck. It's the second day, and this is the line,
Look at
which
that. Look at that
not
line.
anywhere near as long as the line yesterday. And that's it. So, and that's the Lake Chalet right there, as you can tell. So we'll just, wait and see what happens. And see that line there.
It was a glorious day for Oakland.
That
looks like
that was one of the best first takes I've ever watched. I remember watching that one.
I was meant to get it.
And
See this?
Stephen A. was just really happy to be there.
Yeah, and this is the kind of thing that creates need for jobs for local people, and and everything
I just
else.
say this, Zenny? I think what you're trying to say in a nutshell is guess what, Goodyear Blimp? You don't need your parking over there off of Hagenberger off the airport anymore, because you go down there to Moffett Field and park there. If you don't have any reason to come over here and show everyone all the great shots you used to take.
Sorry, Jay. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And This was inside. This was inside. It was glorious. I mean, this makes me cry. This is the kind of thing that we love.
And did you see all the locals in there? Everybody was even now it would be a millennial age African American young man or a young woman. But did you see how happy they were? Did you see all the laughing? Did you see all the togetherness? Did you see the spirit of community? And there's nothing thuggish about it. There's nothing violent about it. It's all good.
Check this out, Jay. Watch.
First take, which is actually going on over there. And pretty cool, huh? Pretty cool. Pretty cool. It's live, and we're going back on, so we got to wrap it up. But here we go. Jared! Yeah, Jared. Jared, there's the man. Headed out right there. Great show and great time. I like it. Right here in Oakland. All right.
Yeah, see, right here in Oakland.
When the Raiders were here with Al Davis, when I'm growing up, this was not uncommon. The players, even the coaches, you could go to Lake Merritt, you could go to Grand Avenue, you could go to Jack London Square, you could go to Montclair, wherever, and they were living in the community, interacting with us, working in the community because they had jobs during the off season. They were either car salesmen or insurance agents, basically. And you would go out to dinner, and they would always represent the team. You really felt like they were representing the team and the city, but then you would feel a part of that. You felt that, and it was a special time. And you can't recapture all of that 100% by keeping your sports teams here. But however, there would be a form of that would stay behind. And that's what the base is. That's what your foundation is. And then you build up from there, like you say. But scenes like this, unfortunately, that you're showing us are not coming back. And they don't know how much it's missed until it's gone. And
I think we can bring it back. I agree with you right now. It doesn't look like it because there's no effort. Or Libby or Shang or
well, shame on her. Let me just say, shame on her. She didn't live too far away from me, up the street, and she's always been that way in school and in person. And she should have known better.
Well, I don't. Here's the thing. I will disagree with you there because I've known Libby for 32 years, and she hasn't always been that way. And I think, for example, I was there when she created what became Oakland Cares, which really was the forerunner to the Oakland Promise. That was 1993. All right.
Well,
she does care. But I think what happened was that Libby got the wrong people got into her ear and told her things that, okay, and that was it. I'm going to leave it at that because.
Well, but
hold on a second. I'm going to leave it at that for her. And I want to go on and get these comments. And the reason why I'm being this way.
There's one section of this government, of the city government, that you sometimes do leave out, Zenny, and that is the Coliseum Commission, the Coliseum Board.
Yeah.
She never sort of completed the circle with them because they are part of the problem as well. Matter of fact,
that's true.
They're almost more of the problem. If you had it on a scale, they would be a 51-49. They would be the majority of the problem. Al Davis continually hammered that about them. They would not go along with them, and his vision and what he saw the NFL going to do, and the way it's carried.
So, in fairness, though, we're talking about the Coliseum Commission before it was changed to the JPA in '96. However, that said, I think the JPA was better responsive to a point. All right.
Yes.
To a point, but that's another story. Let me. No, actually, it's part of the government story. You're right. Because again, I say this: the JPA hasn't met in 2 months. Executive Director Henry Gardner, who was the
you just talked about that
ever, said it was hard to get a quorum. How can it be hard to get a quorum?
You just talked about.
I said to Nate privately, "So you have a problem getting a quorum, man? Put me on there." And I begged him. I said, I said I've advised every executive director of the Coliseum Authority since its inception. So you put me on there for a change. And then he wrote to me, "Well, we like you, where we are, giving us advice." I said, "Yeah, but you're getting it for free. I mean, just make it count. We have to feel the pain of what I'm going to say." So
I'm not surprised.
So Steve says John Fisher has no choice. That was Vegas. They were having a little argument here because Steve Macy had said, "I'm just hoping you realize how lucky you are to be getting the worst owner in sports." And Vegas Max said, "John Fisher has no choice but to compete for the Vegas entertainment dollar. He has to make the A's competitive." And, And I think John's problem is that in the Coliseum context, there wasn't the right relationship to make the A's better. Thank you, Sir Chad. So I've been to Firebomb, as Pomsey would call it. Pomsey is a famous Las Vegas vlogger. I've been to Cleveland. I've always admired how the Browns played by the lake. I wish Al Davis and the Raiders had a stadium by Howard Terminal of the Lake. That would have been cool. Someone says plank. Oh yeah, plank. You mean the plank like the plank at Jack London? Let's start wrapping this up. It's getting late. All right, parting thoughts, gentlemen. With me, I'm putting you on a 20-second leash. Go ahead.
How about to say that, you summed up everything as always, and I can appreciate that. Just like Jay said, in terms of the educational part of it, is what I look for coming out of the show. It's sad what's going on in terms of with the A's, and so forth, and and with Oakland just seemed to be that, in my opinion, not giving a damn. That's how I look at that. And so, but if that's the case, I don't have no kind of say over, who stays or who don't, and so forth. Just hope for the best in time. That's about it.
Hey, how about you, Jay? You want to give us like 20-second leash? Just make it quick.
I totally agree with Dave, and like I said, I could. It's not getting late at all, Zenny. I feel like you're just getting started. Your energy, your knowledge, you're so entertaining, but you're so informative. And I'm over here on these. I'm so there's that, and that's a compliment.
Thank you.
And I look forward to more of these broadcasts. If you wouldn't mind, I could chime in like this every now and then, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
And if it's okay with you too, Dave.
Yeah, if you show your face, we can be a little better.
Well, it's a little bird. It's that little bird in your ear. What if we just call it that?
How about just putting a picture of yourself up to the screen?
Because I don't want.
No. He might put an aardvark or something. Then I have to block him. So no.
Well, I want Zenny to have as many subscribers as possible. I don't want them unsubscribing.
Unsubscribing, no.
With that, let's get some more comments there just to read them off. Steve Mason closes us out with, he says, well, Vegas Max says, now sportless Oakland will sit back and watch Vegas at its best. Ouch. When both Formula One super ouch and Super Bowl 58 major ouch. As the only guy to form the bid to bring the Super Bowl to Oakland, we lost to Jacksonville. Major ouch. Anyway, to come to town 3 months apart, by the way. Yep. And now the NFL's treating me like crap, too, so I got to do something.
How is the NFL treating you like crap, Zenny?
Stay tuned, and I'll tell you later.
I can't wait for that one.
Yeah, it's worth waiting for.
Get to work on it, Zenny. I want to see it first thing in the morning.
Anyway, got it. So it's a football team, and baseball teams will continue to be bottom of the league with 40% of fans from out of town. Vegas Mark says, Steve Macy, like Henry Hill from Goodfellas once said, doesn't matter. It's all profit. Rest in peace, Ray Liotta. Steve May says it's unfortunate because it'll never be the same. True. But we have video too. No need to bash. This is what happened between Las Vegas and Oakland. Yep. I love Vegas. I tell you, I started covering Las Vegas 2010 for CES. And folks, as we part, I really encourage you to have a look at my CES Las Vegas videos. And I always call CES Las Vegas the Epcot, the true experimental prototype community of tomorrow.
Well, Zenny, but today, when you go to school for what you went to school for, and for as long as you went to school, I think Vegas probably is attractive to you because it's like everything you dreamed about, but on steroids and moving quickly. And so you get it's like a candy store for you. They're a city government. It's a candy store for you the way that they everything to do with their infrastructure and their city planning, right? It's just up and down, right? Build them and tear them down. Build them and tear them down. But you know what? I'm glad you found something that really piques your interest there, Zenny.
Oh, hey, and not only that, I highly encourage you to check out my Las Vegas Convention Center groundbreaking video. I was kind enough to be invited there, and I was treated like they really treated me properly. And I can't say enough for how they rolled out the red carpet for me and for others. And I remember Steve Sisolak saw me walking in, and he said, so you're not going to start in trouble here. I said, this. He cracked me up. But this is
you see, they're smart enough to treat you like that, and they're smart enough How they're
Yeah, so
getting the Raiders and the
this is
A's.
30
So there
minutes
you go.
long. 30 minutes long, folks, but you give me an idea of what, was going on and some of the people there. That's Governor Sandoval. And I have they have, at the end of it, they had all these people that were involved in the groundbreaking for the Las Vegas Convention Center expansion. They had everything. They had copious amount of wine in back. I talked to, this is Kristen Giuliani. She was
To introduce Las Vegas and Clark County Commissioner Kristen Giuliani.
And you could tell I had some.
I can tell. That's why I was looking at that
Yeah,
jar.
you can tell. I'm glad I stopped drinking. The whole point is, all right, good.
Very good. Thank you. Welcome. What do you think about this incredible moment for the Las Vegas Convention Center district groundbreaking?
Well, this is exciting because this is my commission district, and so it'll generate jobs for my neighborhood. I have the most intense poverty area right next door to this. So part of it is trying to make sure that I get men and women hired and trained to actually be doing some of the work out for the long-term jobs. It'll be here close to 8,000 of them. But more importantly, this is about Vegas being in competition and staying number one in the United States. Nothing against my hometown of Chicago or any place else, but this is Vegas, baby, and we know how to do it.
See, that's what I love, the kind of attitude, right?
That's the
I was swimming in that,
I guess that wouldn't help the current mayor if she watched that clip. Oh no, I guess that wouldn't help her.
No, the thing about it is that that's how you think, and that means that you're one. That's what Ed Lee brought, to the table, okay? And
she's excited and she means it, and she's also saying, "I'm going to follow up on this until every last job my expectation is make sure that person is working." She's not snowballing you. She's not snowballing anyone. She truly means it. She's passionate.
And I remember, this is Tommy White. Tommy White, a local.
Folks, I came over from CES,
this,
and
right?
I'm being pinned.
Well, this guy, everyone said, "Oh, Tommy hates you." Tommy White didn't hate me to the point where he didn't pin me. Look at this, okay?
By Tommy White. This is quite an honor. Thank you. This is and I want to say congratulations on the groundbreaking. Is there a chance to say that?
Oh,
look at this.
Thank you.
This is nice.
He gets his official Raiders.
This is nice.
That was nice.
Shovel.
Thank you.
Wow.
A union, yes. Always.
Union, yes.
Union, yes. Always. Never. Ever. Hey, thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Was he in the Raiders organization in the past?
No, he was. At one point, I don't think so. No,
he sure looks like it. No, but that he means that, Zanny, and he does like you.
Hey, listen to this guy.
With the amount, you see how many people have CES?
Yeah.
Right, so
Yeah,
just
this is my
imagine
9th year in a row. So,
just imagine how many more people are going to be coming into town. I mean, I just to get off that subject, I would have told more people to have flashlights on their phone the other night when the lights went out. Right?
I was over at Sands. I heard about it.
Too many grab their phones, but look, our convention industry is just going to go tenfold now.
Yeah.
Between, the Raiders Stadium, you got the hockey team doing fantastic. We're building the baseball arena too.
Yeah.
It's going to be up in Summerlin, and we're going to build the addition down on the.
You let us have the A's, please.
We're not trying to get a baseball team. At least I know we're not. Listen,
yeah.
if somebody says we're going to build a baseball stadium, it's not going to be like the one in Summerlin. We're going to do it.
But as I said,
You hear that? You hear that, Dave?
Yep.
It's about baseball, okay?
before private, you guys are doing it right. This is the way government works. You do things, you build jobs.
We were doing everything to do it right and putting the right people to work and making sure we're going to live up to these quotas and our training is running.
Yeah.
So it's
through it.
Congratulations.
See, unfortunately, Zenny, he wouldn't make it in Oakland right now.
That's
They
what I was about to
wouldn't
say.
want him to him. Right?
Do it all.
Dave?
You wouldn't hear that talk in Oakland. Coming from the council in Oakland and so forth.
No, and that's the thing. And Vegas Mark says, like, good night. Hey, good night. Thanks, and thanks,
And
Steve
that's
Macy.
That's the huge part of the problem.
Oh, and
Right there.
Scott says, hey, Zinni, watched your very insightful video about how Oakland did not have a process in place to properly do the power paternal development deal. But I want to hear your take on the process in Las Vegas. And thank you for asking. The process is laid out by, and you look, how many times over this have you heard a single elected official talk? Do you know who the elected official face of it is? The answer is no. But you know the A's are doing, now that you know that Bally's is involved, okay, you know that gaming and leisure is involved. You know that behind the scenes, the county, the governor, Joe Lombardo is involved, but Joe Lombardo hasn't been out making himself the face of this thing. You have different people along the value chain of pre-development and development work that are at about the task, lobbyists and everybody else, of doing their roles to make sure the athletics get their project. There's no wild prognostications, nothing. There is simply just work. And you have the media trying to, mostly Bay Area, guess at what they're doing. All right. The difference between Las Vegas and Oakland is in our face. You're not bombarded by an elected official's visage every single night, which means it's not over politicized. It is appropriately where it should be in a place, a region, the Southern Nevada Valley, that has specifically tagged sports as an objective for economic development. I think it's intelligent in this modern age. All right. And so then he says, the A's seem to have done the deal haphazardly. I disagree. Reaching a binding agreement first, then asking for public assistance before the TIF gets created. No. Is that the right way to do this? I disagree with those characterizations. First of all, the TIF hasn't been created because it hasn't been approved by the legislature. So no, these are all conceptual at this point, calculative. A. B. Second, the places at which people thought the deal was, haphazard, media people basing, okay, a document only on what they know, not what somebody else who really has done it knows. Okay, big difference. Legislators are not the people to go to because they're lay people, but yet they would go to a lay person who you don't know what their agenda was about, who would make a comment, they take that, boom, and next thing you know, it makes a headline. But you have, let me put it this way, every deal you sign with someone in real estate is defined as binding. All right. Binding it means within the context of that agreement. It doesn't mean you can't go out someplace else and do an agreement. All right. It doesn't say it's exclusive.
Yeah.
It's a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
The word exclusive is not there. It doesn't say once you do this, you can't go anywhere else. It's exclusive. No, that's not there. All right. That's the mistake all these folks make. And they think that they know. And they contaminate their lack of knowledge all over the public. And that's the problem. And they get on Twitter and they throw this stuff out. And that's the problem. Okay? So, no, I disagree. The A's didn't do this haphazardly. What was haphazard was the lack of knowledge of the media covering it. And that's it. All right, folks. Dave, we got to go. Dave, we got to go. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Zeddy. Thank you, Dave.
Yeah.
Hey, stick around in the background, gentlemen. That ends this broadcast. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, cohort.